I wanted to pivot to Lincoln Riley's comments on the transfer portal entrance and what he thought of recruiting rankings in particular, because I was like, oh, okay, so we're taking shots at networks now. Got it. So let's start with the portal. Him saying that they expected many of these entrants, but then him following up with, yeah, we got younger, more talented players. They're just in room. And I'm going, yo, all right, man. Like, tell me how you really feel, Lincoln. At least that's what I take away from it. Be careful, maybe that's not what you took.
No, I agree. I thought he was a little lax, maybe more relaxed about that situation than I anticipated, because when the question was first posed, I thought he's going to provide the politically correct answer, as we know and love Lincoln Riley to do. Instead, he was like, you know what, man, we're getting better dudes. Like, these guys don't fit the system. So we didn't blame them for going elsewhere because they just didn't fit here. And I'm sitting in the back row running my camera like, oh, my Lord, are we listening to this guy right now? He's taking shots. But at the same time, I mean, he's not wrong, right? I mean, there are guys that just didn't fit with the trajectory of Alex Grinch's defense. So, I mean, you look at it, they had a ton of guys hit the portal. I mean, a massive amount. And I think you and I both expected it. Brandon expected it. Joey expected it. Everyone in the OU media realm expected defenders to be transferring out of this program once the offseason hit. But no, I was shocked, to put it lightly, the way that he handled that question. But again, he isn't exactly off base with his claims. So I know that a lot of players are leaving, but then that, of course, shifts attention to who will be taking their place. And that's where guys like Witter, like you're mentioning, come into factor. So that was one of the more intriguing aspects of that presser, that's for sure.
Yeah, man, I didn't expect him to do that. And when you talk about guys not fitting, I'm going, okay, Michael Thompson fits that. Troy James to a degree. But Levi Draper? Mark Jackson? Really? Jordan Parker?
Yeah.
Okay. That's how you feel, then that's how you feel. But that 2017 class, we all remember that class as being pretty doggone decent. And Draper was ranked, I think, the 4th highest in the composite among that group that included CeeDee Lamb, Kenneth Murray, Marquise Brown, a few other folks, right? I'm going, that's kind of harsh, but, you know, if that's how you feel, that's how you feel. As with his comments about everybody wants to rank recruiting classes on signing day, which is the worst possible time to rank recruiting classes, to which I had a couple of things to say. First is, who else ranks them, dog? Do you rank them? I don't think you do. You think you're going to be the 4th best recruiting class in the country because you finished 4th in the college football playoff? That ain't how this works, man. But also, to his point, though, and I've made this one with you, Clemson outkicked their ranking like for the last 5 years, okay? It's possible. But they're the only people doing it. You know? So, like, I took offense on behalf of the networks who do a lot of work to get here. And by the way, show me anybody else who's doing it. You know, show me somebody else's rankings. Show me the coaches' recruiting rankings. I would love to see those. Where would you rank Oklahoma, Lincoln, compared to Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, and others? I just thought that was a bridge too far, but it's also his press conference.
Yeah, I mean, you know, he's got to say what he has to say in order to boost confidence level that the fan base has in the incoming class. And to kind of go into what he's saying, I understand his perspective on this. I agree with him. There, like he said, there were guys in this class that staff thought that is a top-tier prospect for us. Now, the key word or two there being for us, right. There are players in this recruiting class that fit, like I mentioned last podcast, what Alex Grinch's system is, what Lincoln Riley's offense looks to be, but they may not be the overall prospect right now that we as networks view them. I mean, like DJ Graham, for me, comes as an example. I watched that guy essentially take over a football game on both sides of the ball and in the special teams aspect of things. And I'm sitting here thinking, this guy is a 3-star? But, I mean, that also goes to the level of player across the nation when you really think about it. Mm-hmm. So I understand what he's saying. Like, yes, there are some dudes in this class, and we touched on it last podcast, people can listen to, that it provides a level of depth that is certainly respectable. But at the same time, man, like, come on now. These recruiting sites, don't discount them, because I'm going to be honest, and I don't want to, like, brag on ourselves too much, but 24/7 rivals, whoever you go to, they're usually pretty accurate on these things. So, I mean, am I too off base there? I think the numbers have proved it.
I don't think so. And when you take a listen to what the Rankings Council has said about how they try to position this. They are looking to cast 3 years in advance. Which of this group of kids do we expect to be first-round draft picks, and what emphasis does the NFL put on their positional value, right? We might all think that Julian Fleming is the best athlete in the entire country, but he plays wide receiver, which does not have the same positional value as quarterback or even defensive tackle, so he doesn't slot as highly. And we could say the same thing about athletes to a certain degree. I mean, Brew McCoy was the number 1 ranked athlete in the 2019 class and number 9 overall prospect because he did not slot. You know, there was questions about, would you go to Alabama and play outside linebacker or go to Texas and USC to play wide receiver? And he says, I'm a wide receiver, to which we're going, you'd have more value as a pass rusher, dog. And he's like, no, that's not what I do. In the case of a guy like Graham, for which you said played both ways, right? Caught touchdowns, prevented touchdowns, had interceptions. It's going, all right, where does this guy fit for Oklahoma? And they're like, well, perhaps he fits at defensive back. And we're going, maybe we like him more at wide receiver. So that part I absolutely get, right? What they see is what they see. But I think if you're going to start ranking classes, I'm going to go, okay, how many guys did you lose to the portal? How many guys did you develop? Why is Caleb Kelly still on your roster? You know, did we over-evaluate him or did you over-evaluate him? Those sorts of things, you know, and that's where this stuff gets tricky, right? Because everybody's right and everybody's wrong depending on how you want to be subjective about what for us means, right? And it's like, okay, cool. Well, we all think that you did a pretty good job with your junior college defensive lineman. You're not going to have any truck with us on that. Whereas we might look at a guy like Brian Darby, who earned his offer at a satellite camp, which is still one of the hardest things in the world to do. And shout to him who took it right away before it could go somewhere, right? Like, nope, this is it. I'm here. Thanks. Appreciate that. I'll see you guys in the summer. You know, I enjoyed
Smart kid.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just saying, that's a smart move by Mr. Darby, man. Take it up while it's out there.
100%. And that was what I was really thinking about. Is like, do you really want to unpack that? Because it's not a conversation with Riley, right? You ask him a question, he gets to answer the question, you move on to the next question, right? I think there are some things that even he would have looked back at the tape of this and be like, I could have handled that a little bit differently. But then he had his assistants come in, and the chemistry among those three was outstanding. You could see why that staff likes each other and how those guys are going to fit in. I wanted to touch on Kobie McKinzie for a little bit, who made the announcement that he plans to reclassify and graduate in May of 2021. He was the only commit and still is the only commit for the 2022 class. If he graduates on time in May 2021, obviously he'll count toward Oklahoma's 2021 recruiting class, which would give them 4 commits. And I think that gets interesting for a number of reasons. One, he's got the size and the speed to play Division I football right now at 6'4", 238, inside linebacker with 4.7 speed. It's only going to get faster. What I thought was interesting is another thing that Riley brought up about that 25-person cap toward each recruiting class across transfers, across whoever it is you want to bring in, and how he might factor into that in that 2021 class. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but Oklahoma hasn't got 25 commits in like 5 years. I had that right? No, they had 28 in 2017. 28.
Yeah, it's been since 2017 they got a huge haul.
Right. And that was the number 8 class in the country. So what did you think about him saying that he was going to reclassify? And then, his dad goes to OUinsider.com and be like, look, we always planned for him to graduate early. We wish he wouldn't have said anything about this, but he's a kid. And so now here we are. It's like, I felt for Will, but at the same time, I appreciated how he handled it.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I don't blame the kid, right? He's excited about the fact that he gets a year closer of playing with the big boys and sort of a big boy himself, right? I mean, you mentioned he's 6'4", 230-something pounds. He's looking more and more to me like a guy like maybe a Jacob Phillips, and I know you fans don't want to hear much about him.
Yeah, I was about to say, there's a burn.
Hey, I'm pushing buttons already, right? Man. I'm pushing buttons. But, I mean, Kobie's going to be that dude one day. And anything that gets the kid closer to his dream, I'm here for it. Probably the more concerning aspect is then the Oklahoma side of things, right? I mean, now you don't have that voice, especially defensively, in 2022. Like, you needed someone to be the face of that class, and Kobie was perfect, man. He was in the state of Texas at a position of need, high profile, like he was everything you're looking for. And now that guy's going to 2021, and that class is going to be pretty darn good, as we've all projected, what do you do at 22 now? Like, are you looking for a new face? who is that guy? How do you identify him? Because up until this point, they were good. Like, they just felt that 2022 class could take care of itself because of what Kobie brought to the table in so many different aspects. So, to me, I don't blame the guy. Like, the closer you can get to playing college football, do it. Like, take care of your business and get ready to go. But now Oklahoma's got to reset and think, how do we reestablish ourselves in the 2022 class? It's going to be something interesting to follow down the road. 2 words: Raleek Brown. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. That would be my plan. That would be my 2022 right now. It would just be like, hey, Raleek, anytime, dog. Anytime you're ready, we'll build around you. We promise.
He's going to modern day. From what Brandon was telling me, that's another interesting aspect of this race. And apparently, we know that kid was going to be going out of state probably, but Georgia offered, and apparently that's like one of his dream schools. So, hey, maybe Raleek Brown's not as easy as we may have perceived.
No, man, and knowing how much Kirby Smart loves running back, it especially since that's where he projects. Now, he came down to Oklahoma last June and played some wide receiver, and it was really the Brock Vandagriff, Raleek Brown show. So you can do whatever you want him to do, but Georgia getting in there saying that you can play running back here, I think that's going to sway the kid, because what we haven't seen from Oklahoma in recent years is a top draft pick at the position of running back, right? And I think that also factors in, whereas with Georgia, Sony Michel won a Super Bowl. You know, Nick Chubb was this close to winning the rushing championship. DeAndre Swift is slotted to be the best running back to come out of this 2020 class, which is deep with guys like J.K. Dobbins and others. That would be my 2022 plan right now, is to just throw all my chips in to try to get that kid into the boat and then build around him, because with Alex Orji and Quinn Ewers taking their time, right? You might not be able to get a quarterback in there as quickly as you might need, but Raleek Brown is a big enough star for you to build around. First, I want to ask you, did you want to respond to that? And if not, is there anything else you want to talk about?
I would just say on Raleek, not to mention you talking about Sony Michel, Nick Chubb, all these guys.
Right.
We should also mention the fact that it's Georgia that ran over Oklahoma in the Rose Bowl with those running backs, and eventually going to the college football playoff or national championship. But no, I think that's going to be interesting. Raleek is obviously probably the priority in 2022, and to me, he's going to have the opportunity to go play running back at Georgia. I also feel like if he comes to Oklahoma, he's got a chance to be like a mini Percy Harvin. That's my evaluation of him. Just his ability to catch the ball, run the ball, impact the game in so many different ways. I see a little bit of Harvin in him, and I'd love to see him in Lincoln Riley's system. I think that's the enticing aspect for Oklahoma right now. You got to convince that guy, hey, you played more than 1 or 2 positions. You got a chance to be a first-round draft pick anyways, with more value and maybe a little less wear and tear. But no, that's probably who they're going after in 2022. You go after all the way down the line. There's some good names. I still think that, like, an Armani Winfield, Louisville, the area where I'm from, he's probably another option to go all in on at wide out. But no, 2022 is going to be very interesting. I love Raleek Brown, man. He is just a baller. And if he ends up at Oklahoma, there's no telling what he could become.
This is the kind of person that DeMarco Murray would be like, do you want to do what I did? Because, you know, they let me play slot and receiver. So I mean, slot and running back, and I return kicks. Like, we can do that. We can make that happen. And I just can hear somebody in my head yelling back, tell Colin Rodney Anderson rushed for 201 yards on Georgia. Anyway.
Who got the dub?
Right. There you go. See, you and me, right? That's where we're at. That's Colin Kennedy. Yep. Follow him on Twitter at @CKennedy247. C. Kennedy 24/7 does outstanding work for us at OUinsider.com. He, myself, Joey keep the carousel, turning it on the front page, and then Brandon Drum's getting in there with VIP notes. We have specials running where you can get in for a very low price, 60% off your annual subscription. Just outstanding things that are going on at 247. We've added tremendously big stars at the national level. Bud Elliott coming on board. My buddy and a former YouTuber and Josh Pate coming on board to run the video side of things. And apparently our CEO, Shannon Terry, has more tricks that he is ready to pull from out of his sleeves. It's a good time to be riding the 247 CBS Sports train. Colin, thank you so much for doing this, man, and working with me.
Always fun, man. Until next time.
Right on, man.